My girlfriend Kelly. She missed my celebration party for the fourth time because she went to pick up her white moonlight who had returned from studying abroad. I drove to the airport, but the car lost control and overturned, falling off an overpass, paralyzed me. As I watched Kelly, who had taken over the management of the company for me after graduating from college, take control of the company and marry Robert, I realized that she had never loved me. I chose to let go and applied for euthanasia abroad. As the medicine was about to be pushed into my veins, I saw a woman outside the comfort cell, crying heartbreakingly. She is my childhood sweetheart Linda. When I was dying, I realized that her love for me continued. After all, I am sorry for her in this life. If there is a next life, I don't want to let her down. If I could do it all over again, back to college, when facing Kelly, a poor student, I would watch indifferently and never intervene, just treating her as a stranger. The story is about to begin. If you like it, remember to like and follow. At the celebration party, in front of many cameras and reporters, I confessed my deep love to Kelly on stage and planned to propose to her. After the noise and cheers ended, the audience fell into an awkward silence. The housekeeper walked onto the stage with an unnatural expression and whispered to me, "Master, Miss Kelly has gone to the airport." Kelly's white moonlight Robert returned to China. Kelly was the first to get the news and went to the airport to pick him up. In the past 5 years, I participated in 4 major domestic and international racing events despite no one being optimistic about me. My performance in competitions always caused a sensation, but it could never impress Kelly. In my first big competition, I came in third. I excitedly sent invitations to everyone I knew, inviting them to the celebration. However, on the day of the celebration, Robert was hit by a speeding vehicle and had a car accident. Kelly received a call from Robert and rushed to the hospital immediately. As a result, Robert's leg was only scratched by the car, but Kelly still took care of Robert in the hospital for more than 10 days. So Kelly hates racing, and hates me driving a racing car even more. The next year, I almost went crazy trying to get better grades. Even after crossing the finish line, he couldn't brake and collided with the first-place car, losing control and flying into the air. The car rolled over for more than a dozen times until it hit the grandstand barrier and stopped. I was seriously injured, fainted on the spot, and was sent to the hospital for emergency treatment. My teammates helped me receive the award. The second-place prize was $400,000, and I gave it all to Kelly after I woke up. The celebration party after my recovery happened to be Robert's birthday. Kelly used my tournament prize money to hold a birthday party for Robert and bought him expensive gifts. I consoled myself by telling myself that if I could really win the championship and become famous throughout the world, she would recognize me. So 2 years later, after recuperating in the hospital, I lived up to everyone's expectations and won the championship, finally qualifying to participate in international competitions. At this time, I was about to graduate from university, and the domestic news was reporting on me extensively, publicizing the news that I would soon fight abroad to win glory for my country. And Robert is still just an ordinary poor college student. Kelly and Robert are poor college students from the same village. Because I like Kelly, I took the initiative to offer her targeted assistance. If Kelly had not forced me to support her and Robert at the same time, Robert would have dropped out of school and returned to the countryside. This time, the celebration was unprecedentedly grand. It was not only a celebration party, but also a scene for me to confess my love to Kelly. During the 2 years of recuperation from a serious injury, I withstood pressure from all sides and ignored all kinds of negative news and conspiracy theories, and finally got the chance to prove myself. The desire to have Kelly as my girlfriend was more urgent than ever. At the celebration, Kelly stood in front of me wearing the dress I carefully selected for her. There were thunderous screams and cheers around me. Kelly stammered, and as she hesitated, her cell phone rang. She picked up the phone without hesitation. I could see Robert's head on the screen from a distance, along with a long paragraph of text. I knew what it was, a farewell text from Robert. The news that Robert had obtained the qualification to study abroad was also revealed in the class group. The news was hidden so deeply that no one knew about it until now. I kept this secret on purpose. In order to prevent Robert from disturbing Kelly and me, I applied for a study abroad qualification for Robert and took the initiative to cover all the expenses for his study abroad. I only have one request to Robert, which is to keep it a secret from Kelly. But I allowed Robert to text Kelly to say goodbye before he left. Because I thought by now, Kelly would definitely choose me. Are you blocking the news? She gritted her teeth. Her resentful eyes made me understand a fact. In Kelly's heart, I will never be as good as Robert. Kelly chose to leave me behind again. In full view of everyone, ignoring the numerous reporters and cameras, she turned around and quickly left the celebration site. Several reporters and paparazzi followed Kelly out the door. Soon, before the celebration was over, news broke online that Kelly went to the airport to say goodbye to Robert. Paparazzi reporters clearly captured Kelly and Robert hugging and crying at the airport before kissing goodbye. This time, my heart really cooled down. Especially after seeing the photos of the scene taken by paparazzi on the internet, I felt completely calm after a few days of pain, so calm that there was no ripple at all. I thought Kelly had made her choice and I was ready to give up. In order to prevent public opinion from affecting Kelly, I asked people to delete all the news about Kelly and Robert on the internet, and buy out all the news that had not yet been sent. I hadn't seen her for a long time, but Kelly came to see me on her own initiative. One afternoon a month later, I had just finished training at the training ground, got out of the car, handed the car to the team, took off my helmet and walked out of the field. Kelly was standing at the gate outside the venue, her white dress fluttering in the wind. I recognized her immediately. I stood there in a daze, watching her walk towards me, her eyes red, as if she had just cried. The indifference was gone. Be my boyfriend. What? Kelly said in a crying voice, will you be my boyfriend? As she spoke these words, I gave her a hug. Okay. I promise. I didn't feel surprised. Just yesterday, Robert posted a photo on WeChat Moments. The photo shows two hands with fingers interlocked. Caption, it's great to have you in this foreign land. Robert also sent me a message that night, David, I'm looking for a girlfriend abroad and I won't bother you and Kelly anymore. Okay. I replied briefly. That whole night, I looked at this post on WeChat Moments, and Kelly's name appeared and disappeared on the likes list. She must have been looking at this post, frequently clicking like and canceling it. It seemed that such an action would attract Robert's attention, and perhaps he could explain to her and tell him that it was all a joke. How is that possible? I heard that their relationship became increasingly distant after Robert went abroad. They used to call each other every night, but the frequency became less and less, until they finally had a big fight and went into a cold war. And now, this circle of friends suddenly appeared, setting off our entire university circle. Therefore, Kelly did not change her mind, but was mostly angry with Robert. But I don't care, I just want Kelly to be mine, as long as I can have her, that's enough. With love and motivation in my heart, I won the second place in the international competition and became a sensation across the country. The airport was filled with excited fans and flashing cameras, and I was delighted to think that Kelly would show up to greet me. And she didn't come. For a year, apart from daily training, I stayed with her all the time. We were very happy every day, and she gradually began to smile in front of me. Kelly is a top student in the same major as me and her grades are also outstanding. When I confirmed my relationship with her, I brought her to my own home and introduced her to my parents. I also asked my parents to give her a chance to manage the company on my behalf. As the successor to the family business, I am not willing to take over the company. Although I followed their request and chose to study financial management, my dream has never changed. Of course, my parents did not agree at first, but at my strong request, they gave her some power, just to train her to be a capable assistant for the David family. I gave her everything I had and let her take care of what I needed to do in the company while I continued my training with peace of mind. I thought that as she became more involved in my life, she would slowly grow to like me. But her heart is not with me after all. 10 minutes before the celebration party started, Kelly, who was sitting next to me, received a call. There was a flash of panic and joy on her face, but she immediately calmed down. Baby, what's wrong? Nothing. Her face slowly turned pale, her hands trembled, and even her eyes became a little dull. I was going to propose to her, and I had been preparing for this ceremony for a long time, and I was very afraid that something might go wrong. I also called Robert to inquire about his situation. I was completely relieved when I heard that he would not be back for more than half a year. I stood up and went to confirm one last time with all the staff present. 5 minutes later, the host announced the official start of the celebration. "Excuse me, Mr. David, you have never had any scandals in the 4 years of college. Do you have someone you like?" Reporters rushed forward at once. There was a person I specially invited inside, and he was standing at the front. The security guard followed my request and did not stop him from approaching me. I had a crush on a girl since I was in college. I pursued her for 3 years. If I hadn't liked her, I might not have been able to survive the nearly 2-year recovery period. In the last year, she became my girlfriend, and because of her, I was able to win championships in foreign competitions and bring glory to my country. I slowly told the many reporters about my experiences in the past few years, and I mentioned Kelly's encouragement all the time. Here, I would like to take this opportunity to say something very important to that person. I took the box containing the diamond ring from the hostess. As soon as this thing appeared, the screams like mountains and seas almost blew the roof off. Here, I would like to invite the most important girl in my life to come on stage. I raised my hand and looked affectionately in the direction of the host's seat. The applause and cheers became louder. Only the butler came. When the housekeeper said the word airport, I could no longer control myself and ran towards the door. This time, I drove onto the highway and stepped on the accelerator almost to the bottom. I drove the fastest sports car in my house, breaking through one checkpoint after another. During this time, my cell phone kept ringing, and my parents and friends called me one after another. I didn't answer it, I just raised my head and continued to control the car. Suddenly, a special ringtone rang. The ringtone is familiar yet unfamiliar. It's one of my favorite love songs sung by Kelly. This song that I haven't heard for a long time made my heart tremble. I released one hand from the steering wheel and tried to press the talk button on my cell phone. Because I was so excited and had such a good sense of the car, I didn't even notice that the steering wheel was moving to the right. As the call was connected, the sports car broke through the guardrail and flew straight down from the overpass. The car rolled down the hillside, and dizziness and severe pain came over and over again with the rotation. When it finally rolled to the foot of the mountain and stopped, the car was in a mess. It must have been horrific to see from outside the car. During the time when the accident happened, I didn't think about anything and just held my phone tightly in my arms. But at the last moment, the phone hit the front windshield hard and the screen went black. But I still remember that when I was desperately protecting my phone, I heard Kelly's cold and annoyed words on the other end of the phone. "David, do you think it's fun to make such a fuss? Can you be more mature? Do you think it's cool to be willful? You used to go racing despite everyone's opposition, but now you throw a tantrum when you are wronged. If I still have feelings for Robert, why would I stay with you? Go back quickly, otherwise it will be too embarrassing, and how will your uncle and aunt lose face? Wait until I come back to talk about anything." She hung up after she finished speaking, without even asking me why it was so noisy on my end. I fell into a coma. When I woke up again, I was lying in the hospital. Next to him were his parents, who were crying bitterly, and a few friends who were invited to the celebration. I used all my strength to turn my head and look around the room. Kelly still hadn't shown up. I wanted to get up. I couldn't believe that after I had a car accident, Kelly would be so indifferent that she wouldn't even come to visit me. But after using all his strength, he found that he had no feeling below his head. I am paralyzed. The doctor said that it was a miracle that I was still alive, so I shouldn't expect my body to remain in its original condition. During that period of time, I almost lost my mind and didn't let anyone enter my ward. Later, I started a hunger strike. There is no chance of my recovery, so there is no point in living. I thought the meaning of my life was to be with Kelly, but I never truly had Kelly's love. I always thought that if I fought hard for her, I would be able to make her change her mind in the end. But in the end, I ended up with nothing because of my wishful thinking. My family is very wealthy. Even if I leave this world now, my parents will not lose their support for the rest of their lives. So, the most regrettable thing is that I didn't die directly in that accident. 2 months later, Kelly came to my ward. Kelly had never come to visit me before this. She stretched out her hand to show me the diamond ring on her finger. Robert and I are engaged. I'm sorry, David. It's not that I don't want to see you these days. First of all, it's because of something that happened to you. Your uncle and aunt have no intention of working. I'm helping your uncle and aunt deal with things in the company and I can't leave. Secondly, I don't know how to face you. So that's why you came to see me after you got engaged to Robert? Because you knew I couldn't do anything to you no matter what. David, don't be so irritable. Kelly shook her head. I always thought you were younger than me and I should give in to you, but you really haven't made any progress at all. She returned to being as cold and distant to me as she was before we were together. If you think I'm being irritable, then there's no point in saying anything. I turned my head away and didn't want to look at her anymore. I appreciate you, but you are no match for Robert. My family favors boys over girls, and they let me go to college just so that I could ask for more dowry money with my college diploma in the future, so that I can use it for my younger brother's marriage. If Robert hadn't liked me at the time and didn't want to see me become a commodity in exchange for a dowry, and had told my parents that a college degree would increase my value and asked them to agree to let me go to college, I would be married with children now. He saved me and changed my life, while you just gave me money to make my college life less tiring. I can only give myself to the one person I need to repay the most. Unfortunately, I can't choose you, so in order to make it up to you, I can fulfill one of your wishes. She never said these words to me. All I knew was that she and Robert were both college students from rural areas, but I never knew about her past. From this perspective, I am simply a robber who is trying to steal someone's love and get involved in Robert and Kelly's relationship. But can't she really see my deep pursuit of her and my tolerance and indulgence towards her time and time again? In the end, the only reward he could get from her was a wish. Please arrange euthanasia for me abroad. Kelly didn't seem to expect that this was my wish and looked at me blankly. After a long time, her eyes gradually turned red and she suddenly turned her head quickly. The ward was so quiet that the only sound that could be heard was the sound of the instruments working beside the bed. Okay, I promise. She was silent for a long time, then said, I believe that with Kelly's eloquence, it will not be difficult to convince my parents to agree to my euthanasia. My parents came to my ward in the evening. My mother hugged me and cried loudly, and my father stood beside me, looking at me with sadness in his eyes. I ended up disappointing them. I was so arrogant that I thought I could make them proud by racing. Kelly, I hope you can help me take care of my parents in the future. This is my last request to you. I looked at Kelly, who was behind my parents. I gave my identity to her and completely gave up everything I had. A month later, a private plane took me abroad. After complicated procedures and psychological inquiries, the nurse pushed me to the euthanasia room. Family members are allowed into this room. But I didn't let my parents accompany me abroad, but chose to say goodbye at the airport. Just like the last time I went abroad to participate in a competition. It seemed like I would be back soon, holding a medal or a trophy. Kelly was the only one in the room. The nurse and I confirmed the final process. Can we start? The doctor asked me. Okay, thank you for your help. I closed my eyes and waited quietly. The medical staff helped me into the comfort cell. The machine starts, the countdown on the display ends, and the medicine is slowly injected into the body. Finally, it's all over. In my next life, I hope I won't be so stupid. Never get involved in other people's feelings. Looking back over the past few years, ever since I met Kelly in college, my life has always revolved around her. Until the very end, losing his health and life for her, giving her everything he had. I'm so stupid. I muttered to myself with my eyes closed. After all, my affection was given to the wrong person. But who else can I give it to? David. There was a sound of hitting the bulkhead of the comfort warehouse, and a girl's shouting. This voice is very familiar. A few years ago, this sound kept ringing in my ears. I opened my eyes just before I lost consciousness. The person's head was almost pressed against the glass. He was banging on the safety box desperately, crying my name with tears streaming down his face. David, please don't leave me. Please. Although my memory has gradually blurred with my consciousness, I still recognize her. She is my childhood sweetheart, Linda. How did she end up here? I remembered that this was the country she chose when she immigrated abroad. Because I liked a racing driver in this country, she told me that she wanted to go to this country with me and accompany me to meet my idol. She has always liked me, but after I chose to be with Kelly, she decided to move abroad because she was disappointed in me. We haven't had any contact since then. I don't know how she got the news and suddenly rushed over at this time. She came too late. Just when I figured it all out, it was already too late. As she pounded on the bulkhead even harder, consciousness slowly faded away. David. Get up. It's time to report in. After consciousness dissipated, it reappeared in an instant. Before I could figure out what was going on, I felt a heavy blow to my lower abdomen. I have body awareness again. The heavy pressure on my body made me open my eyes and I found a girl sitting on me. Yes, Linda. I remembered this scene. It was the morning of the first day of college, when I was about to leave home to report to the university. She seemed to want to be with me, so she came to my house and took the initiative to wake me up. Am I reborn? Linda is still as passionate as before. And our relationship is still as close as that of brothers before I met Kelly. My response to her was a hug from me. Because I was paralyzed for several months in my previous life, I didn't control my strength well and used too much force, causing Linda to fall directly onto the bed. You're a hooligan. Linda struggled desperately under him, but her face was obviously flushed. David. What's going on? The door of the room was opened, and my mother appeared at the door, with a lot of servants watching the fun behind her. David's mom. David bullied me. Linda suddenly pushed me away and ran over to hug my mother's arms. Mom. When I saw my mother, I choked up. You still remember that I'm your mother? Have you forgotten all the etiquette I taught you? Without saying anything, my mother rushed over and slapped me on the back. I accept it with great pleasure. In my previous life, I always quarreled with my parents, and the more I rebelled, the more distant we became. Now that I can be beaten by my mother, I only feel happiness. Linda and you are childhood sweethearts. This is not a reason for you to touch her. She got up so early just to wait to report with you. Hurry up and get up and pack your things. The mother scolded a few words and took Linda away. Before leaving, Linda turned her head and stuck out her tongue and made a face at me. This little girl. I muttered and took the glass of warm water handed to me by the maid. Just a glass of warm water almost made me cry. It's been a long time since I regained my health, and it's been a long time since I picked up the cup and drank water. Then I stood up and walked out step by step, steadily and happily. I don't know why I was able to be reborn, and the cries of Linda from my previous life are still faintly echoing in my ears. Is it that God gave me another chance, or is this just the way the world works? I don't care. Since it has come to this, I don't want to give up any opportunity in this life. I don't want things that don't belong to me, so I'll just let Kelly and Robert lock them up. There are people around me who I should love. Just like in my previous life, when I arrived at the school to report, Kelly, wearing cheap but clean clothes, flashed past me. She dragged a tattered suitcase with a snakeskin bag on it, rejected all the seniors who wanted to help her carry her things, and walked slowly towards the campus by herself. Hey, David, are you excited? You've only been enrolled for less than half an hour and you already have a goal? Linda stood next to me, and after signing the enrollment form, she looked at me with a gloating look on her face. I didn't understand it in my previous life, but now I understand it very clearly. Beneath her calm appearance, her heart must have been pounding, afraid that I would nod in the affirmative. How is that possible? Don't you know who I like? Who is it? This sentence made her nervous again. This time she couldn't hide it at all and her words were stuttering. It's you, who else could it be? As I said that, I took her suitcase, and without looking back, I followed the assistant arranged by my family to walk into the school. David. You bully me again. I ignored Linda's complaints behind me and walked forward with even a light step. If I had to live my life all over again, I would live for myself. In this life, I am no longer a bootlicker, I will not revolve around Kelly every day, and I will not have an inexplicable sense of responsibility and a saintly heart. Since I have experienced it once, I am familiar with doing everything. I don't have the recklessness and immaturity of before, but more of a nostalgic experience. Because I have learned all the university knowledge once in my previous life, this gives me a great advantage. At the same time, I was quietly learning a second language without telling anyone. I know that Linda has always wanted to study abroad and has been preparing for it. The reason why she didn't go abroad after the college entrance examination, and didn't even decide on a country, was that, from what I see now, she wanted to have a definite result with me before making a decision. But why didn't she confess after the college entrance examination? I was standing in the library, puzzled, when the phone in my pocket vibrated. It was a message from my counselor, asking me to go to his office right now. Why don't I remember that my counselor from my previous life would come to see me at this time? I drove to the counselor's office. As soon as I entered the door and saw someone in the room, my heart trembled uncontrollably. Kelly stood next to the counselor, still wearing the same white dress. The look in his eyes when he looked at me was still cold. Robert was standing next to Kelly. Although he was thin, he had a handsome appearance. When the two of them stand together, they are a perfect match, handsome man and beautiful woman. In this life, I will never destroy the beautiful scene of them standing together and complimenting each other. Brother Wang, what's the matter? I greeted the instructor familiarly. David, come on, sit down first. The instructor rubbed his hands and looked at me with a flattering expression. It's like this. You must know these two classmates, they are in the same class. You should have an impression that when they introduced themselves, they said they were from a remote rural area in the north, so they might have some financial difficulties. The counselor spoke slower and slower, as if something was blocking his mouth. I was thinking, your family is well off, could you please provide them with some targeted assistance? Of course, your help will not be in vain. We will award you a certificate later and publicly commend your act of helping classmates at the conference. Look, what are your thoughts? After listening to the instructor, I finally understood what was going on. In my previous life, I was attracted to Kelly at first sight and started to act like a bootlicker. After learning that her financial situation was not good, he took the initiative to find Kelly and expressed his desire to sponsor her. There is no financial support from me in this life because the school has just started and the application process for poor students and scholarships takes a long time. Now the two of them may have some financial problems. The counselor and I have a very good relationship, and my family is well off, so the counselor respects my ideas on this matter. Brother Wang, I'm sorry, this money is not mine after all, it's all my parents' money. I became serious and looked at the instructor solemnly. And the school is not without scholarships, and they can also apply for poor students. I deliberately left the topic open, waiting for the counselor to speak. Now the application still needs to go through the process. Moreover, there are even poorer students in our major, what if they are not accepted? How about this? I will help the poorest students in our major and increase the chances of these two students in front of me applying for scholarships. What do you think? Although it wouldn't have any impact if I refused directly, I still gave the counselor a way out. This. The instructor was confused and turned his gaze to Robert Kelly and the other person. You don't have to think that my helping the poorest students will have an impact on me. I am also reducing the burden on the school. As a student, you should take the lead, and you have recommended me, which can be regarded as your work achievement, right? After my patient persuasion, the instructor finally agreed and held my hand to express his gratitude. I said goodbye to the counselor and prepared to leave the counselor's office. When I turned around, I felt Kelly's eyes following me. I never wanted to talk to them in my life, and I never thought about getting to know them, so I didn't care at all. The targeted assistance activities were quickly implemented by the counselors. I heard that the counselor was praised by his leader because of this incident. I selected the two poorest boys in the class, opened a bank card for them, and transferred money to them on time every month. Both of them had tears in their eyes and kept thanking me when they took the bank cards. Naturally, I also had my considerations in choosing these two. In their previous lives, they relied on their own efforts to get into the graduate school of Imperial Capital University. I must recruit such an outstanding student and use him for my own benefit. I believe that in the future, they will become my closest brothers and my strongest right-hand men. I didn't have much interaction with them in my previous life, but in this life, we became good friends. Kelly was very stubborn. 1 month after I clearly refused to sponsor them, I saw Kelly and Robert at the cafeteria window wearing cafeteria uniforms and serving meals to others. As if they didn't want others to know who they were, Kelly and Robert were the only staff members in the entire cafeteria who wore black masks tightly. I walked to Kelly's window, pretended not to recognize her, and said, "Auntie, I want sweet and sour pork ribs and stir-fried broccoli with shrimp." The brothers behind him burst out laughing. Bang! A sharp sound of iron collision came from the window next to me. Robert was glaring at me, spatula in his hand, as if he wanted to seek justice for Kelly. I pretended not to see it and waited for Kelly to serve my meal with an expressionless face. I took the plate and walked away. After I lost my liking for Kelly, I just felt that she was boring and dull. Now that I no longer like her, I have a lot more time left and can do my own things better. Linda's enthusiasm saved me from wasting a lot of time dealing with my feelings. As long as she and I continued to be the same as usual, our relationship could keep moving forward. I used the rest of my time to consolidate my studies. My obedient and well-behaved behavior made my parents very happy, and they were not too opposed to my request to play racing. If I could do it all over again, I would know how to control my parents. I told them that I liked racing and wanted to play with it in my free time. After careful consideration, my parents agreed to my request, but they very solemnly ordered me to be careful. The domestic competition will be held in the spring of the second year, so I still have half a year to prepare. This time I don't have to waste 5 years. I can directly win the qualification to participate in overseas competitions in the first year. According to my memories of my previous life, I found all the team members from my previous life. At first, they all thought I was just a rich kid who wanted to play racing, but when I drove a racing car in front of them for the first time, they were so surprised that they couldn't close their mouths for a long time. I completely impressed the team members with my 5 years of driving experience, and gave them enough confidence in my participation in the competition. Everything is going in the right direction. It seems that he can't stand working part-time in the cafeteria every day. Less than 2 weeks later, when I was eating in the cafeteria, Robert stood in front of me angrily and said, "David, why would you rather support people from other classes than your own classmates? I can support whoever I want to support, what's it to you?" I crossed my legs and looked at him provocatively. "Why are you so persistent in asking me to support you, even going so far as to go to the counselor? As long as you support me, I will study hard and work for you in your company in the future." His expression was one of great pride. "As long as I want, anyone can come to work in my company, but I don't want useless people." I wiped my mouth, stood up and looked at him straight in the eye. "I can only sponsor 2 people. If you and Kelly rank higher than my beneficiaries at the end of the semester, I will consider sponsoring you. You are so rich, why do you only support 2 people, and why do you need to consider it?" Robert said in an unhappy tone. He was wearing work clothes and a mask. Everyone around him looked at him strangely. "The money is not mine, and I did this with my parents' consent." I made excuses impatiently and picked up the leftover plate and stuffed it into his hand. He glared at me and walked towards the dish recycling area. In his previous life, he had been bundled with funding when he helped Kelly, so he didn't need to care about how much money he spent. As long as I tell Kelly, she will come to me, and I will transfer the money without thinking. In this life, he lives the life he originally lived in poverty, and I inexplicably feel a sense of revenge. The final exam arrived as scheduled. The comprehensive test results were quickly sent to the group by the student committee. I checked my scores and saw that I ranked first in the comprehensive test, while my beneficiaries ranked second and third respectively. I nodded with satisfaction. Sure enough, as long as these 2 people are given enough resources, their achievements will be enough to beat everyone else. Of course, it can't compare with a cheater like me. Kelly ranked 4th, while Robert's result was terrible, struggling painfully in the middle and lower reaches. I gave each of the beneficiaries a red envelope of 50,000 yuan, allowing them to take it home to supplement their household expenses. I thought Robert would be speechless after losing the bet, but I didn't expect that he would directly tag me in the class group that night. "David, you are so rich, what's wrong with supporting poor students? Do you think it's fun to use your grades to embarrass me?" I had already gone home for vacation, and when I saw his message, I was almost stunned and almost dropped the wine glass in my hand to the ground. "What do you mean I'm using his grades to embarrass him?" My brother sent me a private message immediately, comforting me and telling me not to be angry with such people. They spoke up for me in the group. "How can you be so arrogant? This is the first time I have seen you asking for money in such a high-handed manner. Are mobile phones so smart nowadays that even a pig can write on them? Do you have no hands or feet? Can't you work part-time to earn money? Why don't you ask other people who are obviously poor but don't even apply for poor students how they live? You have the audacity to ask others for money. You are a two-faced person. Robert was silent for a few minutes before replying, but his words were not as confident as before. He said he would consider it, so I didn't apply for it at all as a poor student. He knew that I needed to work part-time and had a short study time, but he still made things difficult for me with my grades. He could obviously help more people, but he still wants me to compare with others. He is bullying me. David, your family is so rich, with so much savings, you can just sprinkle some water to feed us poor students. Why don't you just be kind? Why do you have to tease me? I was speechless for a while. He said it as if I owed him something. He portrayed me as a villain who deliberately teased him and amused him, and ultimately left him without food to eat and money to spend. I personally stepped in and typed a reply, no one's money comes from the wind. My family is rich, but what does this money have to do with you? You are the one who asked me for funding. What qualifications do you have to act so arrogant here? Besides, it is my freedom to decide whether to fund me or not. I can't sponsor just anyone. First of all, he has to be a good person. I can't support an ungrateful person. Secondly, I do have my own considerations when I sponsor others. I need talents and need to build my own company team. I can't just sponsor a loser and use him. And I said at the time that I was just considering it. You didn't meet my requirements, so I couldn't support you. The group fell into silence again for several minutes. In order to provoke him, I sent the screenshots of sending red envelopes to the beneficiaries to the group, and continued to mock him without any hesitation. You can't even pass my beneficiaries in the exam. Why are you making such a fuss here? Why don't you work harder and find out more about your own reasons? Just like when I pursued Kelly to no avail in my previous life, Robert had that weird look on his face. Think more about yourself. Is it because you are too rich that you usually act too arrogant? This time, the boomerang ended up hitting his own head. In order to please Kelly, I have been helping him who is admired by Kelly, so as to help them both have a wider world. But not only did Robert not thank me, he even took advantage of Kelly's love for him to trip me up again and again, and I couldn't do anything about it. Without my pursuit of Kelly, I would not be led by him in this life, and his PUA methods would be of no use. I wanted to ignore them in my life, but Robert came to provoke me again and again. Don't blame me for not giving him face. After sending this message, Robert never responded or refuted again. Even during the entire winter vacation, I didn't receive any news from Robert. During the winter vacation in my previous life, I had a big fight with my parents and left home in a huff. I did not spend the spring festival at home, but practiced driving alone at the racetrack. This year, I specially gave my racing team a New Year's holiday and came to my parents' company early to help with the year-end settlement. In order to form my future company team as soon as possible, I brought my 2 beneficiaries to the company to serve as my assistants so that they could adapt to the company's operations and what needed to be done in advance. I had never been involved in company operations in my previous life, so it was very difficult for me to get involved and I had to learn everything slowly. My parents did not scold me for my confusion. Instead, they were very pleased and arranged for an uncle whom they trusted very much to guide me. It's very busy at the end of the year, and even with the help of others, I am exhausted. I was in my office, scratching my head at the computer screen, when a knock on the door disturbed my thoughts. Come in, just put the report down, I'll take a look at it later. I thought it was my beneficiary handing me a report, so I didn't even raise my head, scratched my hair in annoyance, and continued to think. Until the aroma of coffee reaches my nostrils. I couldn't help but look up and meet Kelly's eyes as she was putting a coffee cup on my desk. Why are you here? I stood up alertly and quickly distanced myself from her. I am. Before she could finish her sentence, I shouted towards the door, Gavin. Gavin. Gavin's office was next door, and he quickly pushed the door open and said, What's wrong, David? Is there something you don't understand? What's wrong with her? Why is she here in our company? I pointed at Kelly who was at a loss and asked, Gavin, I remember that you are in charge of recruiting employees for our company, So can you tell me why she is here? I try my best to get rid of the people I don't want to care about. Why do they have to appear by my side inexplicably in this life? Well, there was a graduate who was doing internship before and recommended her to me before she left. I also heard that this girl was a classmate of yours, David, so I thought that classmates might have a better understanding of each other, so I relaxed the requirements a little and arranged for her to be your assistant. I was going to tell you, but the company was too busy at the end of the year and I didn't have time to do it. Gavin was startled by my sudden outburst and stammered as he explained. I sat back in my seat and looked at my uncle. Just because someone recommended her, you took the back door. Just because she is my classmate, you recruited her into the company without even doing the most basic assessment? The sound was so loud that everyone outside the room turned around and looked towards my office. If you have always treated our company's recruitment process with this attitude, I think I should have a good talk with the chairman and his wife about this matter. The chairman and his wife are naturally my parents. After he finished speaking, Gavin's face turned visibly pale. Of course I am very strict. I am considering that, David, you need someone who can work with you better to help you, right? Gavin, you have been in our company for many years, and my parents trust you very much, so you should not make such a mistake. You have been in this position for quite some time. It is time to promote you. New year, new beginnings. I will talk to my parents and tell them that I recommend you to be the head of the logistics department next year. I didn't want to tell my parents to give my uncle any substantial punishment, but to give him some clear advice and promote him to a position where he would have more frequent contact with me in the future. After this beating, I believe my uncle will understand why I cannot continue to do recruitment work but can be promoted to a more important position, which will also be helpful to me in the future. My words still carry a lot of weight in front of my parents. With my approval, the position of head of the logistics department is now basically open to Gavin only. Just one thing, where did this person come from? Get out of here. I pointed at Kelly and ordered her to leave without any hesitation. Thank you so much, David. Don't worry, I will work hard in the company in the future. I will not let down the expectations of the chairman's wife, and you, David. Gavin bowed and nodded to thank me, and winked and gestured to Kelly before leaving. Kelly stood there motionless, her eyes red, staring at me. Seeing that Kelly didn't respond, Gavin frowned, took 2 steps forward, and reached out to grab Kelly's arm. Gavin, you can leave first. I smiled and sent Gavin away, then turned to look at Kelly. Do you have anything to say? The aroma of coffee and the busy noise outside the office complement each other, bringing me a sense of fulfillment in busyness that I have never experienced before. But Kelly shouldn't exist in this beauty. What do you mean? I think I can do this job. Kelly's voice was choked. I know your abilities, but you don't meet our company's recruitment requirements right now. I said this lightly, not wanting to get too entangled with her. Then what should I do? I didn't go home during the holidays because I agreed with my family to work here to earn money. I can't just go back like this. Kelly rushed to the desk and slammed his hands on the table. The coffee cup jumped up and made a crisp sound. I just looked at her indifferently and continued to handle my official business. Your salary will be settled according to your attendance, and the company will also reimburse your travel expenses home. The rest is not the responsibility of our company. I don't know how long Kelly remained frozen in front of my desk. After a long time, I heard the sound of quick footsteps and door closing. When I finally finished my busy work, I stretched leisurely and picked up the coffee to take a sip, and I saw several drops of light water stains on my solid wood desk. Is this tears? My relationship with Linda also made great progress during this spring festival. In order to leave a good impression in front of Linda's parents, I specially prepared a gift and went to Linda's family alone to wish them a happy new year. Linda's parents couldn't hide the surprise on their faces. Maybe they always thought that the relationship between Linda and I was just childhood sweethearts, but they didn't expect that the joke between parents would really happen to their own children one day. Although it was not stated explicitly in words, the actions had already been justified. After several contacts during the Chinese New Year, Linda's parents almost regarded me as their future son-in-law. The new year has passed and school will start soon. Nothing around me has changed. Maybe something has changed after all. Robert had gauze wrapped around his head and his left arm was in a cast. If he hadn't looked so pitiful, I wouldn't have noticed it at all. I heard that Kelly didn't bring any money home and had a big fight with her family, so her parents wanted to marry her to a middle-aged divorced man from the next village. Robert tried his best to stop them and had a fight with the group of people who came to pick up the bride. In the chaos, someone broke his arm with a stick. When Robert fell, his head hit the steps and he fainted on the spot, with blood all over the floor. The wedding procession dispersed. The village clinic was unable to treat this type of injury, so Kelly's parents scolded Robert for bringing it upon himself and took Kelly home directly. Kelly didn't know who to turn to for help, so she could only call the police. The police took Robert to the town hospital, and Kelly climbed over the wall and ran away from home in the middle of the night to come to the hospital to take care of Robert. Perhaps because he was afraid that Kelly would be taken away by her family again. After Robert sobered up, he and Kelly returned to the university and worked to make a living. The group that beat him pooled some money and paid compensation to Robert's family. The marriage ended in a bad way because of this farce, and Kelly's parents even went to Robert's house to make a big scene. What a toad wanting to eat swan flesh, it's wishful thinking, and all kinds of dirty words are thrown around. He forced Robert's parents to pay the medical expenses before leaving. One of my brothers happens to be from the same hometown as Kelly Robert, and I heard all these farces from him. The difference is that he is the son of a wealthy family in the village. Kelly's parents had come to propose marriage before, but were coldly driven away by the brother's father. Let me tell you, Kelly's two snobbish parents came to our house with a basket of eggs to propose marriage, and asked for a dowry of 600,000 yuan. I almost died of laughter. In the bar, my brother poured me a drink and told me all the funny rumors he knew. The brothers were having a great time drinking and discussing the farce that happened during the winter vacation when the waiter knocked on the door and brought in snacks. Coincidentally, it was Kelly who came in. In her previous life, Kelly would have looked down upon this kind of place, which she called a chaotic one. I didn't expect she would come here to work. Your snack. Seeing the people in the box, she immediately lowered her head, quickly put down the food on the plate, and left the box in silence and under everyone's gaze. Waiter, please open all the wine for us. A nosy brother called Kelly. Kelly had her back to us and her body visibly trembled. She turned around, lowered her head, slowly walked to the table, picked up the bottle opener and opened bottle of wine one by one. Kelly never drinks alcohol, so she was clumsy and slow in opening the bottle. Hurry up, please. The brother crossed his legs and ate melon seeds, with a look of gloating on his face. Asking for service was Kelly's duty as a waiter and she had nothing to say. Because he was not skilled in the movements, his finger was cut by the sharp edge of the bottle cap and blood oozed out. The lights in the box flickered, and I saw big tears rolling down Kelly's cheeks, but my heart was calm. Shouldn't she be strong and someone who can handle everything calmly? Who are you acting for now? I quickly got back into my busy daily life of studying and racing practice. With only 1 month left until the competition, the training intensity has increased significantly. But it is still not as good as the wholehearted commitment in the previous life. With my training intensity, other people would not be able to achieve any results no matter how talented they are. Most people thought I was just a rich kid who wanted to have fun with racing, but only my teammates understood me. Only after seeing my horrific training results will they understand how amazing my racing talent is. With the experience from my previous life and the talent in this life, I am determined to win the championship in the international competition. As usual, I finished training in the afternoon and left the venue to return to school in the evening. Robert blocked me downstairs of the dormitory. David, you are very proud, right? Seeing me like this, you should be very happy, right? Why should I be happy? I didn't feel unhappy when he blocked me outside the door. Instead, I looked at him with amusement. You can laugh at me, but you shouldn't laugh at Kelly. She condescended to work as a waitress in a bar just for me to recuperate. Why are you laughing at her? You are sick, what does it have to do with me? I cursed, pushed him away and walked into the dormitory. How is it none of your business? Did you take the video of her working as a waitress in the bar? Kelly said you were among the customers at that time. Robert stopped me again. I pulled out my phone and checked the campus forum. Sure enough, The first video on the forum was Kelly squatting opposite the coffee table and opening a bottle of wine with clumsy movements. It seems that some nosy brother secretly filmed the video and posted it online. Although no title or text was written, the discussion in the comments section was still heated. Alumni quickly identified the identity as Kelly, the freshman campus beauty, and the comments section dug up her background and why she chose to be a waitress. I heard that her family wanted to marry her to a rich man in exchange for a dowry, and her boyfriend didn't want to stop them and ended up having his arm broken. I went to work to earn money for my boyfriend's medical treatment. I didn't expect that the school beauty actually has such a side. It is said that she used to work part-time in school. I thought the lady serving food with a black mask looked like her before, and now I think it must be her. Her boyfriend is not a good guy either. He had previously held on to the rich second-generation kid in their class and insisted that he sponsor him, but he ignored him. Later, he cursed people in the class group, and finally aroused public anger. I have a screenshot here, who wants to see it? He was beaten this time, so he should recover quickly. Although he can't do heavy work, he should be able to do some light work at least. He can't do any work and relies on his girlfriend to support him. Her boyfriend is really a loser. Doesn't anyone feel sorry for Kelly? Among the comments with the most likes, many of them scolded Robert. So what? Just because I was there, you suspect me of being the instigator? How strange. You actually stood up for her. Oh, I see. You must have been scared by those comments. Don't be so slick here. I'm telling you, delete this video right away. Otherwise. What else? Do you have the capital to threaten me? First of all, it has nothing to do with me. Besides, there is no insult or contempt in the video. Why are you being so self-touched and being the first to speak out? It's so strange. Why was I so fooled by such a person in my previous life? In this life, I found that he had no means to restrain me at all. It was obvious that a little trick on my part would have been a disaster for someone like him, but I was willing to do those things for him and Kelly, even to sacrifice my own life. Only then did I feel regretful about speeding to the airport and getting into a car accident that left me paralyzed. Is it to witness the loyal love between the couple? The people I should love more are myself, Linda, and my parents who always think about me. I realized it belatedly, as the pain came with the vague river of time, and every part of my body was trembling with pain. In my previous life, Robert and I didn't meet very often, so we were not acquaintances. If it weren't for Kelly, I wouldn't even take this kind of person seriously. I actually have to thank him. If it weren't for his unreasonable behavior that forced me to focus my attention on him, I would not be able to treat the poor students I sponsored equally, and I would not be able to form my own team in this life. Plop. Robert knelt directly in front of me. Please let us go. I can do anything as long as you stop making things difficult for Kelly. Please understand clearly that I have never thought of having anything to do with you guys from the beginning to the end. Don't be so self-indulgent. I looked down at Robert from above and consciously moved aside to avoid him. I used to want Robert to be my defeated opponent, but now I just feel disgusted and don't want to accept his admiration. I'm afraid of shortening my life. A small group of people had already gathered downstairs of the dormitory, pointing and talking in this direction. But no one was taking photos with their phones. While reading the forum, I called my brothers downstairs. While they came to pick me up, they were also careful to prevent everyone from taking photos or recording videos. Even if a video is leaked, I just need to spend some money to delete all the information online, control the direction of public opinion, and prevent others from distorting the facts. This matter has nothing to do with me. Robert. Kelly's voice came. She pushed through the crowd, rushed to Robert, squatted down, checked Robert's injuries, looked up and glared at me. David, don't target Robert. If you have anything to say, come to me. This scene is really funny. Those who lost their lives because of it in the previous life, those whom I tried desperately to avoid in this life, now bow down before me. Just stay away from me. I really didn't want to argue at all, so I said this lightly and turned around to go upstairs to the dormitory. My brothers and I walked into the elevator together. We looked at each other and laughed at the same time. In early summer in June, an incident caused the quiet university to completely boil. The news that I won the national championship spread throughout the campus. Debuting at the beginning and winning the championship in one fell swoop, these synonyms made me shine and became famous all over the country in a short time. I held the trophy and smiled brightly, and my handsome face attracted everyone's attention. All major clubs have extended olive branches to me, and many well-known car companies want to sign endorsement contracts with me. I didn't refuse immediately, but went home as soon as possible. I heard from the maid that my parents were shocked when they found out I won the racing championship. When my mother saw me coming home, her first reaction was to run over to me with red eyes and hug me in her arms. "You want to participate in such a dangerous competition, don't you want to die?" My mother scolded me, but my father was more direct. He slapped me on the head. It hurt so much that I held my head and almost rolled on the ground. "Next time, discuss this kind of thing with us before making a decision." Dad was obviously mixed with joy and sorrow, but he still smiled happily for me. "Oh yes, I was just about to discuss this with you." On the way back, many car companies asked me to be their spokesperson. "Can you teach me how to choose next?" I told my parents that I would prefer to choose a car company that has already cooperated with the company and can bring the most benefits to the company in the future, and I told them the name of the car company that had invited me. Dad seemed to agree with my idea. He nodded and said, "Let's choose a domestic product." We just happened to have business dealings with this car company during this period. He pointed to the name of a car company. When I saw this name, I was stunned for a moment. Linda's family happens to have a stake in this car company. I looked up at Dad, and his knowing expression said it all. I suddenly felt a little embarrassed, as if a secret had been exposed on the spot. So I was even less anxious to go home, since I had a long leave from school anyway. From what Lao Wang said, he wanted me to stay outside for a while and deal with all the things before going back. After I called the car company back, I signed the contract with them directly. After shooting the endorsement commercial, the next step is the TV interview. After the host finished some routine questions, he asked me with a sly smile, "Mr. David, let me ask on behalf of your large number of female fans, do you have a girlfriend, or someone you like?" A familiar problem. The answer has changed. Since I didn't even have the chance to speak out last time, there's no need to repeat the mistake this time. I have a girl I have always liked, she is my childhood sweetheart. If I didn't like her, I might not have been able to win this championship, because I wanted to give her a surprise, so I trained so hard. I really want to tell her that if she could be with me, I would be happy and perform beyond my expectations, and maybe I could win a championship in a foreign competition and bring glory to my country. "So, do you want to be with me? I haven't seen her since I went out to compete until now. I swear I will never let her down because she loves me so deeply." This public confession on the show was just a surprise for her. When I go back, will I receive a hug from her or a passionate kiss? The ribbons are flying and the banners are eye-catching. I will be able to experience this again when I win the global championship. This time I will not only receive the glory, but also the love of that person. Linda was standing at the gate waiting for me. Driving into the campus, a group of fans were driving slowly along with me. Their screams and flashlights stimulated my senses. More passionate than any time in the previous life. I started to love myself and was no longer a humble and embarrassed bootlicker, so my image naturally became better. When I opened the door and got out of the car, I saw a group of school leaders standing under the huge arch, with smiles on their faces that showed they were proud of me for bringing glory to the school. Next to me is the person I miss so much. After some complicated but necessary welcoming ceremonies, everyone dispersed. I looked at Linda, who had been waiting for a long time. "So, what did you think of what I said on the TV show?" "Oh, how can you express your feelings like that?" Linda lowered her head and slowly approached me. How could I not wait for her to slowly come over to me? I quickly walked over, hugged her waist, and gently kissed her lips. We are officially together. Both sets of parents are very supportive. After all, every time we get together during the holidays, the relationship between Linda and I becomes their topic of conversation and something they always joke about. There is still 1 year left before the international competition, and now the person who accompanies me through the hard training has become Linda. It was different from Kelly's hypocritical attitude towards me and the forced smile, nor was he in his usual state of being worried and waiting for something with a gloomy face. I was surrounded by sincere love, and my training results improved by leaps and bounds. In just a few months, my level was much higher than when I participated in international competitions in my previous life. Just when I had almost forgotten Kelly's parents came to the school. They rushed into the classroom cursing and dragged Kelly away while she was in class. The whole class was enjoying the farce and no one came forward to help. Except for Robert, who was still standing at the classroom door doing useless work. "Uncle and Aunt, I beg you. Don't take Kelly away." Robert looked around anxiously, looking at me, who was sitting in the center of the front row, classmate David. "David, please come out and help Kelly." He shouted so loudly that it was almost heartbreaking. I knew without looking back that most of my classmates' eyes were now on me. Damn it, why do they have to drag me, a completely unrelated person, into this? So shameless. I am indifferent. Kelly was being pulled by her parents, her eyes were numb with fear, but she stared at me with a desire to be saved. "You're a useless thing. If I had known, I wouldn't have let you go to college. You can't even find a good job. You were blind to believe Robert's lies. Now a coal boss has taken a fancy to you. Go back and pack your bags and get ready." Kelly's parents completely ignored the occasion and dragged Kelly out while cursing. Seeing that I had no reaction, Robert's expression turned fierce, and he pointed at me and shouted, "David, don't you like Kelly the most? Why are you indifferent now? Are you still a man? What's going on? Why would he say that?" I stood up in shock, walked past Kelly and Kelly's parents, grabbed Robert by the collar, and asked loudly, "What are you talking about?" "Robert, don't say that." Kelly suddenly screamed. Seeing her expression of disbelief, a guess came to my mind. Both of them are also reborn. A strong and familiar feeling of nausea emerged, the source of which was from the past life. I let go of Robert, who seemed to be having trouble breathing. "I only have one girlfriend, Linda. If you spread rumors about me again, you'll have to wait for me." Kelly's parents still took her away. I heard that Robert followed the car for a long time. He called me and yelled at me, "Don't you like Kelly the most? Aren't you willing to give your all for her? Why do you like Linda? Why?" I have confirmed that Robert is a reborn person, but I am still pretending to be myself. Facing Robert's questioning, I pretended to be confused. "Are you sick? Are you crazy about money? How do you know I like Kelly? Don't tell me nonsense." "Oh, I know. You want me to pursue Kelly and then threaten me to take money from me, right? You and Kelly's parents are really birds of a feather." Robert was furious when his thoughts were revealed and started to insult me in various ways. I hung up the call and drove slowly to find Linda. We came to the racetrack together. It has become a habit for Linda to train with me, and I know it's because she worries about me. So when I'm not training, I'll always stay by her side to comfort her when she's worried about me. "Okay, the break is over, I'm going to continue training." I gave Linda a gentle kiss on the cheek, then returned to the track, got in the car and continued training. My driving feel was a little off today. I don't know why, maybe it's because I knew that Robert and Kelly were reborn people and that affected me. After all, whenever that feeling of nausea came over me, I couldn't help but exert force all over my body and my limbs became stiff. Damn it. It started again. I slapped my helmet hard, suppressed the feeling of nausea, and started training. The speed of the car gradually increased, my driving feel slowly returned, and the training car was left far behind. "David, you did it. You broke your own record." The team members' cheers came through the intercom. "I am almost certain to win the international championship in this life." I was so excited that I planned to run another lap to vent the frustration I had been feeling during this period. Suddenly, someone rushed into the stadium on the right side of my sight. The person was wearing white clothes and was particularly conspicuous on the track. I was startled and immediately swerved to brake. The speed was still too fast. Even though I reacted in time, the car still hit the roadside, rolled over a few times, and burst into flames. I nearly fainted. I could vaguely hear Linda's screams, and my love for her forced me to regain consciousness and struggle to climb out of the fire. He stood up, staggered away from danger, then fell to the ground with his head tilted. Faintly, someone rushed over and blocked the light in front of my eyes. She shook my body, and big tears dripped onto the helmet, making a padding sound. "Is that Linda?" In this life, did I still make her sad because of me? I really am a failure. David, please don't go. This was not Linda's voice, but Kelly's. I opened my eyes and saw Kelly's face. The person in white who suddenly appeared on the field was her. How come she is here? Wasn't she taken away by her parents? It really is haunting us. What's disgusting is that I got into a car accident because of her. My consciousness sank and I passed out. You are really lucky. Fortunately, you have a helmet. Your neck is slightly sprained, but it's not a big problem. You can continue training tomorrow. When I woke up, I was in the ambulance. The medical staff was examining me. When they saw me wake up, they smiled and spoke to me. Where's my girlfriend? There. We'll be there soon. Shall we carry you in later? The medical staff considered the public opinion issue for me and seemed to be very experienced with this kind of thing. I looked in the direction of his finger, but the person I saw was not Linda, but Kelly. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She looked at me, unable to stop crying. In my previous life, I would have immediately gotten up and hugged her to comfort her. The smile I originally wanted to use to comfort Linda withered instantly. No, I'll just walk in. I didn't respond to Kelly. I told the medical staff about the precautions for getting off the car. Then I sat up, took my phone from the medical staff, and made a video call to Linda. Linda was crying so hard that she was out of breath. Only when she saw that I was fine did she slowly calm down. I'm fine, don't worry. Baby, why didn't you get in the car? I asked her. I was just saying that. When I arrived, I saw Kelly squatting next to you. The paramedics wanted to take you to the ambulance, but she insisted on getting in too. I couldn't even grab her away. I wanted to get in the car, but the medical staff stopped me and said that the ambulance could only take one family member. I could only watch the ambulance drive away. I looked at the medical staff, and he turned his head away awkwardly, as if he knew he had made a fool of himself. The ambulance drove into the hospital. I put on a mask and a hat, lowered my head and followed the medical staff slowly. I sent a WeChat message to Robert, come to the central hospital and take Kelly away. After a series of examinations, I went to a private ward to rest. During this period, Kelly has been following me silently. Sitting on the bed, waiting for the test results to come back, I stared at Kelly. Same situation as in the previous life. I was lying on the hospital bed and she was standing by the bed looking at me. There was no indifference on his face, but rather caution. I sneered in my heart, are you still pretending at this time? Kelly, what do you want to do? David, I'm sorry. I just want to come and apologize to you. I just felt a chill. You came all the way to the racetrack to apologize? Can't we say it at school? Can't we say it on the phone? No. Kelly waved her hands and stammered, trying to explain. I didn't give her a chance to explain and interrupted her immediately. Do you really think that coming to the racetrack and crying and acting pitiful will impress me and I will give you everything I have? You just make me feel sick. Why not? Kelly, who had been quiet, suddenly yelled like crazy, you obviously like me the most and love me the most. The plot clearly says that you will give everything for me. Why is it different? Tell me. Plot? Isn't she a reborn person? Why is there a plot? The door of the ward was pushed open at this time. Robert rushed in and hugged Kelly. Kelly. Are you okay? Kelly was stunned for a moment, then pushed Robert away with a disgusted expression. Don't touch me. It's disgusting. You're not a good person either. You're not like what's written in the plot. Kelly, what's wrong with you? Don't you like me the most? How can you say that? Robert looked at Kelly in disbelief, his face as pale as paper. I suddenly developed a strong interest in them. Compared to the two of them, I care more about the plot they are talking about. Oh, you also want to say that the plot is not like this? I said in a meaningful tone, with mixed feelings in my heart. Resentment, anger, disgust, and so many other emotions mixed in. In this life, I wanted to stay out of it, but the reason why I have been entangled by these two people is about to surface. The word plot can explain a lot of things. The first thing that comes to mind is that everything I experienced in my previous life might have been planned. So when did you know it? Before you met me, or recently? Robert yelled hysterically, David, don't be so hypocritical here. You must know everything, right? That's why it's different from what is written in the plot. So are you going to answer me or not? What is the plot? If not, get out. I issued an ultimatum. I have done my best to give them the opportunity to explain everything clearly. In my previous life, I thought they were deeply in love, but now, I just think they have always had evil intentions. David. Who do you think you are? You just have a few bucks. We are the protagonists, we have the protagonist's halo. I don't believe it. We, the protagonists, must revolve around you, a supporting role, in order to have a future. Protagonist? Supporting role? What are you talking about? The closer I got to the truth, the more excited I became, but I still pretended to be ignorant. Robert. Stop it. Kelly suddenly stopped him. Why don't you say it? He's just pretending. If it weren't for him, would we be like this today? Bang. Kelly slapped Robert hard on the face. Don't hold me back. You piece of shit. She obviously didn't want to be hostile to me. She turned her head and looked at my face carefully, then pointed at the door. Robert, get out. Robert stood there in disbelief, glared at me resentfully, and then left the ward. You go out too. I motioned for Kelly to go out as well. David, Kelly suddenly called me by my nickname. I have never heard her called this name in my previous life. Instead, it was Linda, who had nothing to do with me in my previous life, who always called me like that. Don't call me that. You have no right. Since you know the so-called plot, you should know that you have never loved me. At this moment, I missed Linda so much and desperately hoped that she could appear in front of me immediately. David. As expected by me, Linda pushed open the door of the ward and rushed in the next moment when I had the idea, and hugged me in her arms. The hug was so tight that I could hardly breathe. I raised my head from Linda's arms and found that Kelly had quietly left the ward at some point. David, I have something to tell you. Linda let go of me, her eyes burning. On the way here just now, I don't know what happened. I fell asleep in the car and had a dream. In the dream, it said that our world was a novel, and in the plot you didn't like me, but Kelly. Because of her, you were paralyzed in a car accident, and finally chose euthanasia out of despair. Before you died, you entrusted your position in the company to Kelly. I was horrified after seeing the ending. You know what happened next. Her expression gradually turned into fear. I comforted her and listened to her entire dream. After my death, Robert and Kelly worked together from the inside and outside to secretly set up a new company, cooperated with Kelly, slowly eroded and hollowed out our family's company, and finally wiped out the entire company. In order to save the company, my parents invested all their assets into it, but in the end they still fell into Kelly and Robert's trap. He ended up living on the streets and later got into a car accident while picking up scraps on the road. My throat was choking, my eyes couldn't focus, and my hands were shaking. I didn't expect something like this would happen after I died. I trusted Kelly so much that in the last moments of my life, I gave her everything because I trusted her. Because I know she just doesn't love me. During these years of pursuit, I always thought she was a very good girl. My bottom line is my parents. They hurt my parents so badly, and anger rises in my heart. Kelly once again aroused his emotions, and this time, he was so angry that he wanted to kill her as soon as possible. David. Why was that dream so real? Is our world really just a fiction? I don't want to see you die, and I don't want to see the same tragic ending as my uncle and aunt. I'm really scared. I can't do anything. I only found out about these things at the end. I wanted to avenge you, but I failed. But fortunately, I finally got your ashes back from them, took sleeping pills, and died with you. Linda's expression turned into happiness again. What did you exchange the ashes for? I felt extremely distressed and worried about making Linda face those two beastly people, so I grabbed Linda's shoulders and asked. I begged them for a long time in my dream, but they wouldn't give me anything. Finally, I told them that I didn't care about anything else and just wanted to die with you. They asked someone to watch over me, and only gave me your ashes after I took the sleeping pills. What beasts! I began to regret having kicked them out of the house. Now they were somewhere discussing how to kill me and squeeze out the value from me. Combining what everyone said, I came to a conclusion. I am just a supporting character in a novel, and I will pave the way for the love and future of the male and female protagonists. I sacrificed everything I had, helped the hero and heroine get together, and retired after achieving my goal. Maybe the plot will say that I am a stumbling block in the love between the male and female protagonists, making things difficult for the male protagonist everywhere, and treating the female protagonist as my plaything. In the end, the heroine defeated me, broke free from my control, and together with the hero, took away everything from me. I thought I was the dragon slayer in this love story. As a result, I was a dragon from beginning to end. In their previous lives, it seemed that they knew all this from the beginning to the end. No, that's not right. After all, if this is the case, Linda will definitely tell me after she finds out the plot. I still don't fully understand the truth. But it doesn't matter. I have an advantage over everyone else when I start over again. I will definitely not lose. There is no need to wait for me to take action to take revenge on them. Even if I do nothing, they will step into the abyss step by step. Claiming to be the hero or heroine in the story, claiming to be able to control everything? Sorry, when we, the supporting characters who were unwilling to die because of the protagonist, wake up, the protagonist of this story can no longer be determined. I asked someone to follow Robert Kelly, just to observe quietly and not to intervene. Kelly would send me messages from time to time, and through these messages, the detectives I arranged quickly found Robert Kelly's hiding place. It seems that they went to great lengths to avoid Kelly's parents and rented a house of less than 30 square meters near the school. The rent might make them stretch to the limit. The stalker reported to me that Robert and Kelly were always arguing. Although the content of the quarrel was not clear, the detective saw Robert slap Kelly hard, and Kelly slammed the door and left. As a person with experience, I was cautious and worried that Robert and Kelly would have some tricks up their sleeves. But until the day I went abroad to participate in competitions, they still went to school, worked, and slept every day. Later, because they couldn't find their daughter, Kelly's parents even stayed in the school every day to look for their daughter. As a result, Robert and Kelly were unable to attend school and absences were commonplace. I obediently asked for leave from my instructor and boarded a plane to attend a racing competition abroad. I'm not 100% sure either, as I didn't participate in this competition in my previous life. I just watched the whole process through the video. The news was unable to fully report on the sudden incidents on the field, so my skills were still tested this time. I can only pray, but I don't know who to pray to, maybe the guy who gave me life back to life. Maybe he would want to see me win the national championship. The entire competition process lasted 4 days. In my previous life, the Grand Slam King won 4 international championships in a row. When I participated in international competitions, I could only come in second place. This time, both the Grand Slam King and I are participating in an international competition for the first time. I will take away his honor of re-election. The competition is cruel. In my previous life, I watched video clips of Grand Slam champions matches, and every frame is recorded in my mind. When I was really racing on the field, I had no time to recall any details of the opponent's operations in the video. Cheats are ineffective, so I can only fight to the death. The last lap is over. The difference of half a body length was exactly the same as the last time I participated in an international competition. The difference is that I am in front and he is behind. Amidst thunderous cheers and applause, I saw the look of disbelief that Grand Slam King gave me as he got off the car. He must have been confused as to how a rookie, an internationally unknown person, could defeat him, who had been struggling in the international arena and now wanted to turn the tide and win the championship. I approached him and said to him in the second foreign language I had learned for a long time, "Sir, I have always regarded you as my goal. If you hadn't been there to guide me, I wouldn't have been able to achieve this result." My sincere words earned the Grand Slam King's frank smile, and he shook my outstretched hand. All around, flashes of light and screams could be heard. The title of world champion resounded throughout the world in just 1 hour. Originally, because I was the only one participating in the international competition this time, domestic reporters didn't pay any attention to my participation. Most people first learned about my championship win from international and foreign news. A few hours later, domestic news reported the good news. Audiences around the world saw my hearty and sunny laugh, and the scene of me shaking hands with the Grand Slam King in a dignified manner. Although I won the domestic championship, doubts about my skills and age have always been rampant. But now, I have silenced all the rumor-mongers and slanderers with my achievements. With such achievements, I won't be able to return to my country for a while. Many foreign programs have sent me interview invitations. I discussed it with my family and thought about taking this opportunity to help the car company I endorse expand its overseas market. The video of my game was sent back to China. After watching it, my parents once again blamed me for trying too hard in the game with mixed feelings. They immediately booked flights to come abroad to see me. I was doing an interview on a foreign program, and the host was jokingly saying that my female fans around the world really wanted me to hold a fan meeting. The team members in the background stared at me with worried expressions, seeming to want to say something but stopping themselves. During the commercial break, I went backstage to ask what was going on. The plane my parents were on was hijacked. A man claiming to be the robber asked to speak to me. Address unknown, number unknown. I picked up the phone, and Robert's voice came from the other end. David, I'm telling you. If you still want to save your parents' lives, give me 10 million. Robert. Don't be impulsive. Let's talk it over nicely. Are you deaf? 10 million in cash. Not a penny less. What confidence does Robert have to be so crazy? How did he know his parents' flight information, and how did he manage to sneak onto the flight? Then I received a message. When I read the news, my worried mood instantly eased. David. My parents and I have already got off the plane. We secretly changed our flight to come see you earlier. We'll play around nearby and then come find you. In the photo, my parents and Linda are smiling brightly, and behind them is the airport where I landed for the interview. You're crazy. 10 million in cash, do you know how heavy that is? Do you have any idea of the amount of money? I played Tai Chi with Robert in a joking manner, which forced Robert to scold me and ask me to collect my parents' bodies, and then he hung up the phone angrily. I returned to the studio and continued the interview as if the incident had never happened. The interview ended successfully and I reunited with my parents Linda. I was greeted with warm hugs and smiling, tearful eyes from everyone. The flight that my parents had booked crashed into the vast ocean. What's going on? I originally thought that Robert was making this up completely. Why would a plane be hijacked? It's impossible that Robert really hijacked the flight. Perhaps, it's because of the hint of the plot. It seemed that Robert had known in advance based on the plot that at this time a plane flying to the country where I was interviewing would be hijacked and eventually crash. So he just had to make sure my parents could book tickets for that flight so he could kill them without leaving any trace to get revenge on me. He could even use this hijacking to extort a large sum of money from me and flee abroad. I have read the domestic news in the past few days. Several domestic media have speculated that the president and his wife of the David family group were on the hijacked flight. In order to gain traffic, they even made the relationship between me and my parents public. I have not made any response to this matter or these news. But there were also foreign news reports that captured images of me, my parents, and Linda strolling on the streets abroad, and those images were brought into China, causing another sensation. Domestic news was in a state of chaos for a while. Mom and Dad, when you decided to come and see me, was it someone who suggested it to you, or did you decide to come on your own? Why, you still don't believe that we care about you? You really took our kindness for granted. But it is true that Gavin did instigate us to go abroad to meet you and even took the initiative to book flights for us. We heard from Linda that she wanted to come see you too, so we changed our flight to be on the same flight as Linda's and came here secretly without telling anyone. You kid, have you forgotten your parents now that you have a girlfriend? Dad blew his beard and glared at me, then hit me hard on the head. I felt cold sweat all over my body. Are Gavin and Robert in cahoots? It's almost right. If this works, no one will know what Gavin did. Fortunately, he failed. I originally thought that Gavin would be loyal to our family because of my promotion, but I didn't expect that he would be so obedient to a poor college student like Robert. No, not Robert. The person who had interacted with Gavin in the past was Kelly. How could she be so cruel? I asked local bodyguards to work with my own personal bodyguard to protect my parents and Linda. At the same time, I completed all my work in an orderly manner and finally returned to China. Gavin called me and said, "David, I think you don't have to hide some things. Now that you have returned to China, come to the company and we will have a meeting to discuss the future development of the company." Of course I know what he wants to do. This meeting is simply a palace coup. David, my condolences, who could have imagined such a thing? And this kind of thing is not something that can be achieved by photoshopping some pictures in foreign news, telling some lies to the public to stabilize the situation, or forging a few rescheduled tickets. Gavin sat in the main seat in the conference room, which was originally occupied by my father, with his feet on the table, and his attitude was extremely arrogant. "You are still young and don't have much management experience, so let's put it this way, you transfer all your parents' shares to me, and I can give you more money at most, and you use the money to continue pursuing your racing dream. No matter how you squander, this money is enough for you to spend a lifetime. What if I say no?" I sat opposite him, neither humble nor arrogant. The company's management and several shareholders also have ill intentions. The expression was both contemptuous and playful. "What? You think you have a choice? Your parents have fallen into the sea to feed the fish. You are a little brat who knows nothing about management. What use are you? Even if you are the chairman's son, you have no ability to run the company. This is a unanimous decision of the management. Sign this contract quickly. Otherwise, I don't mind using some extreme measures." Gavin waved his hand and called in 2 security guards. Seeing the security guard appear at the door, Gavin's expression was gloating. He seemed to want to see me struggling to death. I hysterically refused to sign, and was finally forcibly pulled by the security guard to press my fingerprints and force me to sign. But behind the security guard were my parents. Gavin was stunned for a moment. "Impossible. This is impossible." Gavin fell off the chair and fell on his butt. "You're surprised we're still alive, Gavin. And you guys, are you trying to force my son to abdicate? I seem to have seen what you will do to my son when he takes over my position." My father's majestic words frightened the management and small shareholders present so much that they dared not raise their heads. "It seems I need to clean up the termites in the company." Dad vented his anger at everyone present, and finally looked at Gavin. "Gavin, I think I have treated you well. Is this how you repay me? What kind of magic potion did that Kelly give you to make you harm me like this? How could you know? You can't be alive." Gavin was almost scared silly, like a madman. "It is possible that he is just pretending to be stupid." I added at the right time, "Why, do you and Kelly's improper relationship need me to make it public?" During the period when this hijacking occurred, the private detective did not report or warn me. So not only did Robert and Kelly not do anything substantial to harm our family, they never even left the rental house. But this matter is definitely related to them. Based on the speculation, I asked a private detective to investigate the relationship between Gavin and Kelly. Soon we discovered a lot of explosive information. In order to get my attention, Kelly showed up as Gavin in exchange for the opportunity to be an intern in our company. Kelly is pretty, and in order to keep her for a long time, Gavin was willing to break the rules and send Kelly to the company. So you can tell me, even if she can't join our company, with your social status, you can arrange an internship for her in some small company that cooperates with us, right? Why didn't you do that? As if he knew he couldn't play dumb, Gavin suddenly changed into a look of deep sorrow. After she knew she couldn't join the company, she dumped me completely. She knew I couldn't forget her, so she told me that as long as I could get the chairman and his wife to take the flight she designated, she would be with me. I'm sorry, Chairman. I'm sorry, David. I was fooled. I shouldn't have believed her lies so easily. I never thought that the flight would be hijacked. I thought she was just flirting with me and giving me a way out. Chairman, please give me another chance. I can't lose this position. I have a big family to support. Gavin knelt down and kowtowed. How could you not know? After all, what you did today has already explained everything, right? If you succeed in forcing the emperor to abdicate, will you also give Kelly some of the shares you got from me? I am extremely disappointed. I have lived 2 lives, but I never expected that the person I was once close to would do this for the sake of profit. The court will never accept the use of the hijacking incident in the plot to kill people, and will only regard it as force majeure. What's more, the identity of the robber has long been made public, and it is impossible for him to be related to Gavin Kelly Robert. There's nothing I can do with Gavin. I have no evidence to send him to jail, so I can only let him fend for himself. I ordered my personal bodyguards to take Gavin out and throw him directly out of the company. Later, I will join forces with all other companies related to our company to ban Gavin. Kelly and Robert have teamed up to kill our family, so don't blame me for being ruthless. Although Robert could not be sent to prison for premeditated murder, he could still be sent to prison for 3 years for fraud. But in the end, due to insufficient evidence and the lack of substantial losses, he was only sentenced to 10 days detention for intimidation. Gavin was fired from our company. In order to retaliate against Kelly, he published his obscene chat records with Kelly on the internet, as well as how Kelly mentally controlled him step by step, making him willing to sacrifice his own future and give everything for Kelly. Because of detention and indecent incidents, as well as long-term absenteeism, the school directly expelled Robert Kelly. After Robert was released from the detention center, he went completely crazy. He blocked the door of our company every day, went into the company to cause trouble, and cursed at the people upstairs. The company called the police directly, and Robert was taken away and detained again for causing trouble. Kelly went to the school to plead for herself but failed, and was caught by Kelly's parents on the way out of the school. They roughly stuffed Kelly into the back seat of a broken van, tied Kelly's hands behind her back, stuffed a cloth strip in her mouth, covered it with some torn cardboard, and left the school. The private detective reported to me after tracking her that Kelly was married off that night by her parents to a manic patient with a history of mental illness not far from home, and received $600,000 from the family. I went to the detention center to visit Robert and mocked him. Didn't you say that your protagonist doesn't have to revolve around a supporting role like me in order to have a future? Hey, what happened to you? Are you coming around me again? David, don't be so complacent. When I get out this time, I will kill you, your whole family, and your girlfriend. Definitely. The prisoner is emotional. Take him away. The visit was forced to end because of Robert's excessive behavior. I pouted in boredom, walked out of the detention center, turned on my phone, and found that the private detective had sent me a message. Master, Kelly ran away. Kelly was raped by the family's mentally ill son on her wedding night. Because of the other party's mania, I was bruised and battered that night. Kelly was locked in the sheepfold because she wanted to escape every day. Every night, the family unchained Kelly and took her into their mentally ill son's room. A few days later, the family used a pregnancy test stick to find out that Kelly was pregnant, so they moved Kelly from the sheep pen to a windowless room and locked her up. Kelly took advantage of the family opening the door to deliver food, knocked the person delivering food unconscious, and escaped on the family's tricycle. I'm so sorry, I didn't find her. She ran away so suddenly and escaped into the mountains halfway, so I couldn't track her down. I'm so sorry. I gave the private detective $3 million and reimbursed him for all his expenses during this period. I will no longer continue to investigate Robert Kelly's movements. As a poor student from the countryside, he desired too many things that he should not have desired, so it was not surprising that he had such a result. Without golden fingers or destiny, their so-called protagonists are just identities in a story. It seems to me now that this doesn't even have the value of a script-killing movie. It's a pity that they are so greedy that they never give up. I am participating in an event of a racing club. There are quite a few of my fans in the club, and many of them wore the same helmets and racing suits as me. Just when we were dressed and ready to take a group photo, I was suddenly attacked by Robert while standing in the center position. He held a sharp blade and stabbed straight at me. I reacted quickly and kicked him several meters away. Before he could steady himself, I kicked him down again. He seemed completely out of his mind, and I tried to restrain him, but he stood up and rushed towards a man wearing the same racing suit as me. The man didn't have my reaction speed and was knocked down directly. Robert stabbed the man again and again. The blood did not splatter, but slowly seeped out from the knife wound. I rushed over quickly and knocked Robert down. He struggled desperately and waved the knife in his hand desperately. In order to prevent him from slipping out of his hands, he actually used tape to tie his hands and the knife together, and made a water cup shell as a disguise, and wore a mask and a hat, so I didn't notice him at first. Seeing that I was about to lose control, the others rushed over and held Robert down. The scene was in chaos. After a scream, a man covered his chest and fell straight to the ground. The fan meeting turned into a complete tragedy. Of the two people stabbed by Robert, one was seriously injured and the other was stabbed in the heart and died on the spot. However, because I took the lead at the scene and tried my best to control the attacker's actions, and later took the initiative to express condolences to the family of the deceased and bear the compensation that should not have been borne by me, my reputation has not only not been damaged, but has also increased. The court made a quick decision on such a high-impact case. Robert was sentenced to death. Okay, don't feel guilty. My parents said they'll come to meet your uncle and aunt tonight to get together with you. I'll go and greet them. Linda comforted me on the phone. I didn't have classes today and had planned to go out with her, but when I called her I found out that Linda had gone to meet her uncle and aunt who had just finished a business talk out of town. But I didn't see Linda at the hotel until noon as agreed. Linda's parents called and said they didn't see their daughter at the airport. I had a bad feeling, so when my cell phone rang, I took it out to check it immediately. It was Kelly, who had been silent for a long time. The content is a photo. My eye twitched involuntarily. That was the overpass where I had a car accident in my previous life. Also in the picture is Linda, who is standing on the edge of the bridge with Kelly holding her at knife point. Come over right now, and let's make this a go. The text is brief. I immediately went downstairs, got in the car and drove towards the viaduct. The place was already surrounded by police and a large number of reporters. The roar of my car's engine attracted the attention of many people present. So when I got off the car, many cameras were pointed at me, and some reporters even started interviewing me regardless of the occasion. I angrily pushed away the reporters who were blocking my way, climbed over the cordon and stood next to the police. Miss Kelly, don't be impulsive. Isn't the person you want to meet here? The negotiation expert motioned for me to step forward, and I walked towards Kelly and Linda step by step. Kelly held a knife to Linda's neck and sat astride the viaduct railing. All of you, get off the viaduct. David, just stand there and don't move. Hearing Kelly's request, everyone left the viaduct. David, long time no see. Kelly smiled bitterly. She looked disheveled and was wearing the flowery clothes of a rural woman. She was completely different from her previous self. Kelly, please don't do this, please let Linda go. David, you should like me the most, why do you like her? Why? I have never liked you. No. Everything has come true, why is it that only the fact that you like me has not come true? I'm obviously the heroine. Why are you going against the plot? Why? Kelly yelled hysterically, and the knife cut a shallow bloody mark on Linda's neck. Don't hurt her. What do you want? I'll give it to you. I thought Kelly would ask for money, but I was wrong. She didn't answer, but smiled and pointed at the hemp ropes around her and Linda's waists. David, if Linda and I fall from here at the same time, who will you choose? The hemp ropes on their bodies were passed around a street lamp near me and tied to the railing near Kelly. As long as the rope is cut, the two people will fall directly off the viaduct. Because of the weight, I could only grab a rope and save one of them. Kelly, stop making trouble. Please come up here so we can talk it out. I still wanted to rescue them all. Why do you have to do this? Why did you want to rescue both me and her? You still have feelings for me. Don't say you will only choose Linda, I don't believe it. I will never believe it. So, prove your sincerity. Maybe she didn't want to get any answer from me at all. She was already like a madman. She cut the hemp rope without hesitation and pushed Linda hard. Both of them fell under the bridge together. Linda. The hemp rope was pulled out quickly. I grabbed Linda's rope without hesitation and tried my best to pull it back. The rope did not feel as heavy as one might have imagined. Instead, it stretched straight and then became still. A dull thud startled me and I froze in place. Linda's scream brought me back to my senses. It was then that I realized that Linda's rope was still tied to the lamppost, so she couldn't fall down at all. Just now she was only hanging 1 or 2 meters away from the viaduct. I tried my best to pull Linda up and hugged her. Linda, how are you? Linda was frightened and nodded blankly. Police quickly rushed to the bridge to control the scene. I don't understand why Kelly would do this. It wasn't like she said, she just wanted to prove my feelings for her. The price was her own life. I shook my head, feeling nothing inside. How could she be so kind? Maybe she just didn't want to commit a serious crime so as not to lose her freedom forever. This proves that I still love her deeply. Even if she goes to jail in the future, I will hire a lawyer to defend her, and she will be given a lighter sentence, so she can be released soon and enjoy my kindness to her. Or maybe she always believed that the protagonist would not die. I told Robert about Kelly's death when I visited him a few days before his execution. Robert said nothing, but a few tears fell from his lowered head. "Stop pretending, you don't like her at all," I said sarcastically. "You have been living for your own interests from the beginning to the end. Ever since you knew the so-called plot, your love has not been so pure." Robert raised his head and roared hysterically, "It's all your fault. It's all because of you. If you had followed the plot, how could we be like this today?" I raised my hand to stop the prison guard who came over to control Robert, and let Robert continue speaking. "If you follow the plot, we won't kill you like the plot says. We are students, right? How could we be so cruel?" Robert seemed to be dreaming about something, which made me very unhappy. I refuted him directly without mercy. "Robert, you have always suspected that I know the plot. Sorry, I really do know it. But I am different from you. I am a reborn person. The so-called plot is not given to you by anyone, but is just a record of facts that I experienced personally and came back with me. Those things really happened, so there's no way I'm going to make the same mistake again. After I died, you killed my parents and the people who loved me the most. You knew it before I did. You should also know that my death alone is not enough. How could profit-seeking people like you let my parents go as you said? So stop dreaming. I didn't choose to find someone to kill you directly. I regret it so much. If I had known what you would do after my death, the first thing I would do after my rebirth would be to chop you into pieces. Impossible. There's no way you could know. Ha 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 ha. David. You can be reborn. You are just a supporting role. If you can be reborn, so can I. Just wait for me to kill you, your parents, and your girlfriend one by one." Robert was so frightened that he started laughing wildly, slamming the table and lunging forward to grab me. The prison guard stepped forward to control him and then took him away. I looked up at the ceiling and took a deep breath. It's all over. I am a soft-hearted person after all. After learning about what happened after death, no matter how much I hated them, I still felt that they were not the Kelly Robert who attacked my parents in the previous life. Left to fend for themselves, they ended up bringing disaster upon themselves because of their greed. A few days later, Robert was executed. Death penalty by injection. At the celebration banquet, facing numerous cameras and reporters. Maybe he will really be reborn, but what does it have to do with me? He will never meet me in this life again. Our family's collaboration with Linda's family is becoming more frequent and our relationship is becoming closer. I am now involved in the daily operations of the company, and spend the rest of my time with Linda or practicing driving to prepare for the next international competition. The title of Grand Slam King will be mine. In the second international competition, I won first place again. I asked my brothers to help me prepare a grand proposal ceremony. At the press conference when I returned to China, I knelt down on one knee and proposed to Linda. At the press conference, the lights were shining and media reporters were sitting together, waiting for me to appear. I knew that this moment was not only to celebrate my victory, but also to start a new journey. I walked slowly to the stage wearing a neat suit. Linda stood beside me. Her smile was as warm and bright as the spring sun. I took a deep breath, adjusted my mood, then turned to Linda with affection in my eyes. "Linda," my voice echoed through the venue, clear and firm. From the moment we met, my world became different. "You are the most wonderful surprise in my life and my most precious treasure. Along the way, no matter the rain or shine, you have always been by my side, giving me support and strength. I love you not only because of your gentleness and kindness, but also because you make me a better person." Tears glistened in Linda's eyes. She held my hand tightly, her eyes full of emotion and expectation. "Linda, I am willing to spend my whole life protecting you. No matter how many challenges there are in the future, I will walk side by side with you. Please marry me, be my wife, and make me the happiest man in the world." After saying that, I took out a carefully selected diamond ring from my pocket and slowly put it on her ring finger. Linda couldn't hold back her tears anymore. She nodded vigorously and threw herself into my arms. The reporters in the audience burst into warm applause and cheers, and the flashlights flashed like stars. At this moment, I knew that our love was blessed by the whole world. After the successful proposal, Linda and I's life became sweeter and more fulfilling. We started planning our wedding, and every detail was filled with love and anticipation. Linda's parents also supported our decision very much. They provided us with a lot of valuable suggestions to make our wedding more perfect. On the wedding day, the sun was shining and the sky was blue. We held the ceremony in a sea of flowers, with relatives and friends sitting around to witness our happy moment. Linda was wearing a pure white wedding dress, like a princess in a fairy tale, and I was the prince beside her. With the witness of the pastor, we made a promise to each other, vowing to stay together no matter we are rich or poor, healthy or sick. After the wedding, we started our honeymoon. We went to many beautiful places, from romantic Paris to tranquil Venice, from passionate Bali to mysterious Kyoto. Everywhere we went, we made beautiful memories that will become treasures for our whole lives. After the honeymoon, we returned to our daily lives. I continue to be involved in the operations of the company, while also working hard in the racing field to strive for more honors. Linda has become my strong support. She not only takes care of me in life, but also gives me a lot of support and advice in my career. We also plan to have a child in the next few years to complete our family. Linda said she had always dreamed of having a loving family, and I was looking forward to the day when I would become a father. Time flies, and in a blink of an eye, we have been married for many years. Our family is filled with laughter and joy, and our child is growing up and becoming a sensible little guy. I achieved more in the field of racing and became an internationally renowned racing driver, while Linda also achieved considerable success in her career. We always remember that happiness is not a destination, but a journey. In this journey, we support each other and grow together. We cherish every moment together, whether it is laughter or tears, they are all testimonies of our love. In the end, we understood that in this life, we did not let each other down, nor did we let ourselves down. With love and persistence, we wrote a perfect story of our own. David, look, our kids are drawing you racing again. Linda smiled and handed me a child's drawing. I looked at myself in the painting, driving a racing car towards the finish line. At that moment, I seemed to be back in those passionate years. But I know that no matter how far I go, my home is always here, by Linda's side, in this loving family. Thank you, Linda, for making me the happiest person in the world. I held her hand tightly, my eyes full of gratitude. Linda smiled and leaned on my shoulder. We are lifelong partners. No matter what the future holds, we will be together. Outside the window, the sun shines on the earth, warm and bright. Our story continues.